started here on Border into the op bands. And I said it once, I'll say it again. I'm not going to speculate, but we did talk, Parker, earlier about if it is beneficial to bring somebody to a map that they've played before and won because of the intel you've managed to garner on said team via the VOD of them playing it. Okay. Especially two teams that are so evenly matched. We're talking about 7 and 8 rank here, right? So is that going to be, first of all, are they closely matched? That's a good question. Just because the rank is right there next to each other really doesn't mean anything, especially this early on. They've only played 3 games. Each of these teams winning one of them. So what is your opinion on it as we get started in a Thatcher ban? That's interesting coming out first.
A Thatcher ban is on Border is going to enable Maverick an awful lot. If you look at the fact that it was Slaughterhouse that banned Thatcher, so they're going to go on a defense first. They obviously have an innate advantage when it comes to that. They're not going to have to worry about dealing with that. They're going to be very mindful of Maverick coming out here. Twitch is also an option because the way that Border plays, you get a Twitch drone through that armory wall and take out the bandit batteries quite easily. I don't want to say it's the easiest, but if there's a setup here, with Slaughterhouse where they deliberately ban Thatcher and then they play very aggressively and double or triple up in CCTV or monitors, then this can be a very big problem to take the armory wall out because you have to constantly watch your back, which means you need somebody permanently on flank watch while Maverick is being babysat. And essentially only leaves you 3 people on your team that can actually really do much. And 8K is not even bringing a Maverick here. They're just going to take out the Twitch, and why not? Like I said, a Twitch drone is able to get the bandit batteries on the door of armory quite well, especially if you couple it with a Zofia. Zofia can, of course, knock the bandit off if you're worried about him possibly bandit tricking. Also, Marmalade is bringing the Zofia, so that's definitely something that's doable. But here's a curveball right off the hop. Slaughterhouse is going to go down to Bathroom and Tellers, which is very unusual to start off with. I think we've seen Vitality start off here before in the past in Pro League. And if you're banning a Thatcher, what's going to happen is you're going to have your defenders up top playing inside of offices, playing inside of Fountain, possibly playing inside of archives, and you're going to need to hold there quite aggressively. Well, that wall is very challenging to get the bandit batteries off of, or in this case, they're going to be mute jammers because it's a mute that's coming out, not bandit. Bandit is usually the number one, breach denial that we see here on this map. The best friend is Zercut going to be on that sledge. And if there's not an ADS in place, which guess what? An EMP gets rid of it. If there's not an ADS on place, you can just drop a frag grenade through like the top of the wall and it'll blow up the mute jammers on the other side, and then there goes your entire upstairs hold. Same as you could see from the sledge to take out Sky's Castle barricades. This is a great role right now from 8K. They're very lucky with what they picked, and obviously they had their reveal phase. They didn't need to change up their composition. They're bringing the right tools to tackle this strategy, and if there's unpredictability that we see from Slaughterhouse, then it doesn't really matter what 8K ends up bringing. But right now, it's a pretty good rollout for 8K.
Yeah, it looks like a very heavy top hold from the defenders here. And I'll tell you what, 8K has the team structure, the utility to kind of attack this both ways, right? Up top, which is kind of the standard way, or to blow open the wall and go for a plant. They've got enough coverage utility to try and get that sort of a take done. Looks like they're going to try and take some top control, see if they can find a pick or two. And Zerka will be holding an angle down, trying to cut off any rotations as the Twitch will push in from that side as well. So they're going to pinch in on the defenders. I'm not sure if they've got a full idea of exactly what's going on in offices, but they are pinching nonetheless. And you will see that there are 3 defenders holding an angle there behind those castle barricades. That first one will get open. Zerkit will drone in from one side as Twitch will kind of work the other side, but Twitch will have no way to open that door for the time being. Not sure if the sledge has been rerouted over to her help side or if he's still holding an angle there. Either way, a lot of activity going on. They haven't seen anybody yet, but of course, as soon as I say that, the F2 will take the head off Pyra, and some flurry of kills will come out. Bailey will find one on the Zerka, but Marmalade will refrag, so 2 for 8K and only 1 on the side of the defense as far as the frags are concerned. They know that there's still 1 left over there, but it's going to be difficult. She actually pops up and gets a kill. Gets immediately refragged. Marmalade picking up her second of the round, but a great job solo to take somebody down as you go.
That's unfortunate for Terra, missing out on that really big time. Could have been a free frag, but will lose it for the time being. See some of the wall above her just get blown open. C4 in hand, tossed out. There's nobody home. Going back onto the gun and just playing around the destruction that we see. At least for the time being, she's doing a great job of wasting time. The unfortunate problem is for them is that Assault Queen is the only person left on site. Tara has to tackle the problem, and there she goes. She'll take out Nini Ren. The F2 actually losing the fight, but the Valkyrie will need to return. Diffuse going down. Monster Girl, prone and vulnerable. Can't get to Marmalade. Lady Marmalade with the 3 kills. A monstrous round from her, and this is what you come to expect. Well played, and the setup from Slaughterhouse was good. You could see that it took 8K a while to find their footing, but once they were able to command that wall inside of Office and push in, then it was over. It was essentially over, and it was just stalling for time, with Tara missing a lot of shots that could have possibly changed the momentum of the round, but didn't, and then you lost your bodies on site. Assault Queen goes down, and you're not in a position to really be able to do much as the defense.
No, you certainly are not. And a great job, a great attack, a great pinch upstairs. The defense managed to get frags. I think in total, in clearing those 3 roamers upstairs, it ended up being a 3-for-2 trade, which isn't terrible. Especially if you waste a lot of time. I think that the attackers wasted no time, 0 time, getting around where the defensive holdout was. But once everything started getting open, they slowed down a little bit. But listen, the removal was surgical, and in the event that they did lose somebody, the refrag was pretty instantaneous coming from them. And the whiffed shots that we saw there by the Valk could have been the complete difference between who ended up winning that round in the end. Pretty well played on either side. But still a lot of game left to be played, and 8K looking strong so far.
8K's executes have usually been pretty good, right? We saw how they were able to just absolutely command and dominate that armory wall, and they're going to have an opportunity to do that as Slaughterhouse's defense is going to hinge on this armory site. This is usually your default site when you look at borders, so obviously you're going to be comfortable there. A lot of teams have very default strategies. Some teams might be a little bit more, have a little bit more finesse when it comes to it. It's going to be something that you have to watch for small ways that the defenders play differently. Do they possibly put a couple people inside of CCTV or monitors? Do they keep somebody down below? Because, you're usually going to see a Buck go down below. And for, these teams, Buck is very much available. You can bring him if you want. In lieu of Buck, you basically bring in somebody like a Zofia. Oh, my goodness. Marmalade. Just absolutely destroying Sky, who is standing in the doorway. She gets, droned down, and then that's it for the Zofia. And an operator who can be a major nuisance, whose ability gets better the longer that it goes on, is removed. And Marmalade is going to continue to just bulldoze through. She wreaked havoc over Powerhouse last week, as she has done in other games against their opponents, and right now Slaughterhouse is getting a taste of it, as I believe that's 4 kills in a round and a minute so far. She'll now work on the wall in Armory, using her explosive utility, and that's what Buck would possibly do. And now Marmalade is free to push on up if she really wants, but she gets gunned down by Assault Queen. Say goodbye. I don't know if I like that play from the smoke. It's very aggressive, and you can possibly lose the smoke. That's a huge gamble.
But it will pay off this time around. And speaking of dismantling Powerhouse, my apologies to you in advance. Powerhouse actually getting beat 7-1 on our off-stream match of the night. If you'd like to watch that VOD, it will be available later on in the week on youtube.com/CCS esports. But on to the match at hand that we have on stream for you right now. Things kind of stalling out just a little bit on either side. They know somebody's working that shield. It will be the smoke. The first Toxic Babe will come out. Tara playing the open hole in the floor. We'll see somebody run by quickly, but not be able to react in time. And the attacker underneath will turn around and now put some bullets down onto Assault Queen. Assault Queen getting mighty low. I'm not even sure if the attacker was able to clear the batteries off. It looks like maybe one of the panels, but not both. Not sure if the attacking squad realizes that one of them are primed to be open. And yes, just as I say that, here comes Thermite Charge number 1, the Tex Dynamite. Wall will get open. A little bit of some ADSing down towards half wall, where one defender is prone, ready and waiting to take on all challengers, but not quite yet. She'll hang out there, wait till it's absolutely necessary. Meanwhile, Zerkit will take the head off of Tara. 4v3 now. Attacking squad looking mighty strong, but the time is ticking away. Smoke number 1 will go out. The ADS will find it. Here comes the Toxic Smoke. return fire right back into the hole. Monster Girl will be forced to take damage from the smoke, but will commit to the plant anyway, and will get actually down before she's able to get it all the way to the ground, and just all sorts of craziness, confusion happening before our eyes. Zerka will find one, so will Vawasawaptor, and the Yokai easy cleanup at the end to stop it. And I'm not sure how many members of the defense were left. I think that was the only one. Parker, correct me if I'm wrong, and what a beautiful play by the Yokai to stop the play.
Yeah, Echo doing as Echo does in that situation, and that's a big part of why he's always banned so regularly. I mean, I think you take the Maestro out here because his gadgetry is kind of annoying, and you don't, with Thatcher being banned, an EMP is one of your best counters against a Maestro. You get rid of the Maestro because you can't use the Thatcher on it. Yeah, sure, you might use the tasers or the Twitch, but you don't have to worry about 2 zaps on it because those Evil Eye cams are going to eat up 4 of your 10 zaps that come on a Twitch drone. Take care of Maestro, ban him, and then, bring something to deal with the Yokai, which you have to bring an operator that can eliminate them and find them. And who better than IQ comes out immediately from Vawasawaptor after you lose a round to it. It's unfortunate for the fans of 8K that they weren't able to become aware of that Yokai drone, especially when that there's an Echo in place. I'm fairly certain that 8K was well aware that there was an Echo, but it doesn't matter how good of a team you are, everybody forgets about those pesky little drones that knock you out of your plant animation, and they're especially hard to see. You bring an IQ, and maybe that's going to be able to change something here. It's crazy to me that, 8K was in control of that entire round. That whole round was theirs to lose until the final 3 seconds, and you had 3 members of the team all bundled up together by the main doorway into Armory, and they still can't spot one singular little drone that just knocks you out of the plant. You have to be lucky if you're Slaughterhouse, because what would have been the better play there from 8K was, okay, there's 3 of you, go hunting for the last person. Why are all 3 of you clumped up together when you could have possibly had, the planter stay vulnerable while you have the other 2 attackers go and seek out the Echo? He wasn't that far off. He was just on the other side of Sandwich by the half wall. You very could have easily changed that. Now, that's a successful defensive victory. The next rotation is, well, you go back down to workshop and ventilation. And I say go back down because this is the second time that the first floor has been defended. However, it was a bathroom teller's defense, which is very unorthodox. It did not work out well. 8K was able to pick it apart. And now it's going to be a ventilation workshop hold, which once again has bodies on that second floor. It's very useful for you to be able to hold this, and a castle in play from Slaughterhouse, as we've seen a number of times, is going to eat up some of this utility and waste a lot of time in the process.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that triple panel is reinforced. I couldn't tell just because my feed was a little small at the time. Meanwhile, it wasn't, so it will get opened up by the sledge, as will the castle door. So 8K, again, not wasting much time, and through the wall. Great intel. Good reaction. Circuit with 2. Just doing everything right, as they will dispatch of both roamers up top with little to no effort whatsoever. I believe there is one laying behind half wall. I'm not sure if I caught the edge. There is. I'm not sure that they know that there's somebody there at all. And the Twitch drone, will it see it on the way by? It won't. And an easy kill. She'll find 2. Skyfer behind half wall will bamboozle them all. Velociraptor, though, will refrag and stop the bleeding. So we've seen multi-kills on both sides of the board. Still anyone's game. The shots will rain down through the floor, taking the Echo down and finishing it off. Marmalade doing an excellent job on that Zofia so far this match. And now only the smoke remains. Looks like, oh, the sledge was actually down by one of the Legion traps, but he will get picked up, no problem. The smoke's still playing underneath. Still 50 seconds left. Smoke, well, of course, as soon as I say he's playing underneath, will rotate back up. He'll break the window and shoot one of the drones, thus alerting the attackers to his presence. But will they pick up on that information? A lot of the floor getting opened up by Zerkit, seemingly not paying attention at all, will pay the price with a shotgun to the torso. So now the remaining 2 attackers downstairs will get seen on the default cam. Smoke up above will let his presence be known, or her, I should say. As the floor gets opened up, she'll down another. Can she finish the kill? Yes, she will. Only 1 left. Assault Queen doing everything for Slaughterhouse up top. Will not be ready for it, but Velociraptor will miss crucial shots. She'll come around, but the shotgun cannot contend with it. And Assault Queen with an unbelievable 3v1. So well played.
That's a heart pounder, an absolute heart pounder of a round, and Assault Queen has every right to be proud of the way that was played. capitalizing off of the fact that there was no flank watch whatsoever, and you just go for broke. Traditionally, I would say that, maybe you want to play a bit more conservatively inside a site. As smoke, you've got the opportunity to stop the attackers in their tracks and they try to push through the door. And when they emerge from, that gold, yellow colored haze, you're prepared for them. In this case, Assault Queen, whether she was instructed to do so by her team, whether it was called by their IGL or not, Assault Queen took it upon herself to go up and chase the frags. And a lot of times that won't work, but she did so in a way where nobody was expecting that, because who expects a smoke to go on a roam that late into a round when you're last alive? I mean, I guess a lot of people would say you kind of have to at that point, because if you sit in sight, even though you have the smokes, there's a good chance that they could pinch you and you die. It ended up being a smart move, and it ended up being the right call. It was a miss from Velociraptor, which is not what you want. That probably should have been IQ's kill, if we're being completely honest, but it doesn't matter. You can't say that when it comes to these kind of rounds. And Assault Queen absolutely earned that one. On top of that, it's not just Assault Queen. It was all the time that was bleeded out, or, bled out up top. It was pretty quick for 8K, much quicker than I thought it was going to. So, Slaughterhouse's defense didn't really stand up to muster, at least the way I think they wanted to. But you still were able to kill quite a bit of time, at least more than if you had just gone to a standard defense downstairs, or maybe kept one person up in armory. Now it's going to be a customs defense down below, and once again, second floor control is going to be crucial here. If you can wrestle CCTV/monitor away from the defenders very fast, then 8K are going to have an excellent chance to be able to win this entire round.
Yeah, 8K really so far has not had much of an issue in the roam clear game. They have come out on top. They've lost some people, but they've always come out on top in terms of numbers, and they've done it in a sufficient amount of time. Especially that one time that there was 3 people that they had to find. They found all 3, and maybe it only took a minute and a half, but that's 3 people. If it was 1 person, it'd be a whole different story, a minute and a half wasted. But 3 people, totally out for ball game. So CCTV control, Assault Queen, riding high off of how she finished that round, will be challenging the windows, but Marmalade, she'll kick things off again, doing a fantastic job in this matchup so far. And that will be the Yake off the board. Assault Queen on a very dangerous rotation by the open window will remain unscathed for now. We'll be holding an angle over towards the door. Crossfire with Sky set up here, but the door right next to her will get open as well. Terra, meanwhile, on the other side, Velociraptor will go down. That is the Jackal and all that utility gone. A beautiful peek. Great timing. Assault Queen will find one as Sky finds one as well. And now Slaughterhouse, as Sky finds a second in a row, is looking great on the roam. Right after I said that, Marmalade looked at the wrong way. That was crazy. That timing somehow manages to come out the other side against Assault Queen, the victor. Sky and Marmalade having a little bit of a gunfight now. So much time for the attackers. Of course, there's only one attacker left, and that is Marmalade, but nope. Sky with a 3K on the round will hold CCTV the way they've been trying to all game, but unsuccessfully.
Marmalade is putting in an inhuman effort, as you'd expect her to do, but, the rest of the team has been of little support over those last 2 rounds, even though, this could have been a 2-2, as we said. It really depended on the way that Assault Queen played that one out.
It should be a 2-2 right now, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. That's what we saw was typically the way Customs plays, is that if you can hold upstairs very successfully and the attackers push in too quick, then you can rebuff them, and then you just hold on and you keep holding on. And the more that the attackers fall apart, the lower your drone count goes and the less utility that you have, the harder it's going to be for you to be able to flush out the remaining members that are on that second floor, because they're not going to be staying in the same position. They're going to continue to move. And because of this, they're going to end up in places where you're not expecting it. And Marmalade is as great of a player as you're going to get in this league. She's one of the standout performers so far this season. But she can't do it all herself, and the rest of her team, the rest of her team has not been bad, but they're just not playing in a position where obviously they can support Marmalade, or they're supporting Marmalade too much and they're just not accomplishing much themselves. So this is very different from the 8K that we saw before. Slaughterhouse and Powerhouse are very different teams. Slaughterhouse proved themselves to be a better team when these 2 teams squared off earlier in the season. And then, of course, Powerhouse fell by a score of 7-1 earlier. So clearly, you're going to have more of your hands full with Slaughterhouse. But I did not expect this strong of a start from them, especially with the way that 8K played. They looked very rhythmic. It looked like their takes on the armory wall against Powerhouse were very good. And it didn't look like they had much trouble after they were able to pull off the execute, getting out into the post plant. But right now, 8K's biggest struggles have been getting into the execute. They've been very slow to the punch, and because of that, your post plant can be the best in the world, but if you're not actually getting the diffuser down, there's nothing to defend, and you're ending up finding yourselves battling from behind, which right now with the score the way it is, that's where 8K are.
They are indeed, and Marmalade, like, really, I'm trying to think what can I add to that, but your sentiments are my own exactly. So, you know, do they have to give Marmalade more support than she already has? Or do they just have to kind of be there to pick up the slack? Really, and you could really find success in both of those situations. Obviously, the latter is going to be the one that you find success in more consistently and more often, because everybody has bad rounds, bad matches, you get in their own head, you get down, etc. So, like, backing one horse in a race that should have 5 working in tandem isn't necessarily the best strategy, but sometimes it's an okay fallback plan, right? Either way, 8K not doing so great, and Slaughterhouse off the back of a unbelievably awesome 1v3 handily wins the last round. So we get to round number 5, about half the round gone, and we've seen 8K very swift in their movement so far. Prime C4 Terra ready to go. Well, no, I'm not sure what happened right there.
She's done this. She did this before. Yeah, she literally did this before, where you throw the C4 and it gets zapped. There's some problems right now with the way that electricity works. You know, you'll be on the hatch and in cafe and go to drop, and you'll get zapped by the wall that's like a solid half meter away from you. I think that's just Terra kind of getting cheated from the way that the game works. I don't think she necessarily made a mistake there, and unfortunately that nitro cell probably would have collected at least a kill with the way that the attackers were positioned.
Oh, yeah.
And now she has to fall back, and she isn't able to guard that deployable shield the same way anymore. This is going to put more stress on Assault Queen as she watches and misses some drones. Almost eliminates the bandit, gets taken out by Zerkit, who's now in and waiting, ready, watching that half wall, positioned by the armory. Out goes the frag grenade, but Terra is there to swiftly retake, traded off by Marmalade. That's a long angle with a hollow for Marmalade to hit. Downed is Pyrrha, which means that it's Sky and Bailey left as the defuse goes down for Monster Girl successfully, and now we'll get to see 8K's retreat. One will likely go on to repel, with another holding steady. Marmalade is off on ventilation, just waiting so patiently up top. She knew there would be a run out, as that's a very common place for them to go. Almost a third of the diffuser gone. Pyrrha is able to get picked back up if required. And if I'm Sky, I'm going to do that. Give yourself a fighting chance. It's still going to be a 3v4, so Slaughterhouse will be shorthanded when it comes to this. Bailey doesn't see one. She falls, and 8K cleanup as they just snap their fingers. The remainder of Slaughterhouse goes down. And what a read by 8K. Once again, this retake that they can do, and their post plan is oh so fine, and we finally get to see it in action.
Yeah, that post plant was really impressive. Marmalade with the rotation cut off completely. And we saw that strange spot that ended up paying off there in CC. What is that spot called?
Which spot?
Is it vending? Is that what it's called?
The staff area by the fridge.
Is that what it is? Yes, by the fridge.
I mean, I don't know the actual specific call for it. I don't know if that part of it has it. It's usually just like the staff area or break room.
It's an atypical spot nonetheless to hold, but
that was very weird for somebody to be playing there.
Right, the trusting your teammate to hold from the pillbox wall and not like get beat out and the diffuser get eliminated by the time you have a chance to rotate over. I mean, that's putting trust in your teammate, and it paid off beautifully because all the remaining members of 8K got a kill apiece within a second or two to finish off the round. So greatly played by them, and they stopped the bleeding of down 3-1. Stinks. It's not fun being down 4-1, 5-1. I mean, as it starts to pile on, the stress gets added. You know, the communication and the mentality or the mental, I guess, health of the team overall kind of deteriorates away. So to stay back into it and also have the opportunity to end the half at a tie is big here for 8K.
That's the kind of bounce back that you want. And despite the fact that, you know, some mistakes were made on both sides, I think that round goes very differently if the bandits' batteries don't kill, you know, the C4.
Oh, for sure.
Terra probably would have netted at least 1 kill on monitors, at least the monitor doorway. That's really, really tough, you know. And it was free and clear of what should have been the bandit battery. I think that's when you're gonna watch back and be like, oh, you know, that's kind of a surprise. That probably shouldn't have happened. Sure, it could have tipped the tide of, or it could have changed the tide of the round, but it ultimately didn't. Now, this time, Marmalade is going to entry the exact same way she did before, which is downstairs all alone, run through customs. She went in through passport. There was a Legion of Sky there previously, which was the opening pick that we saw from 8K, but obviously you realize and you learn from your mistakes. Slaughterhouse is going to just keep all of their presence upstairs on that second floor. Nobody down below. You might send somebody down later on, especially if they have a C4. But the only C4 that you're going to see is from Terra. As long as she can avoid doing it in an area where there's bandit batteries, she might have some more success with it here. Now, 8K assemble along the armory wall. They are very familiar with taking this armory wall, so I'm not too surprised to see this. But the bandit batteries need to be cleaned out. And if you remember, after Marmalade was down below and was able to open up some of the floor, Assault Queen got very aggressive and was able to trade off the batteries for a kill. In this position, it's Terra now, though, who's got a longer angle. They'll lose the armory wall with 1.5 minutes to go, and Terra will catch Marmalade, as expected, down below from Terra, who will now get stimmed back up from the dock.
Yep, 2 stims used on teammates so far. Now, that's a good dock teammate if I've ever seen one. They know somebody's still there behind half wall, and they're going to have to try and deal with said person at some point in time. They will hold off for now, just seeing if they can clean up a bit of picking. More power to them. They still have 1 minute to work with, which is tons of time. They still have 5 defenders, though, to contend with. Although the pillbox wall is open, that's a lot of people that can be aiming their barrels in your direction. A sloppily timed peek at the door will not result in a loss of life, but will in the loss of health. But not that much, though. MP7 not doing a tremendous amount of damage. Zerkit still working that hallway. They still know somebody's back there. Just holding an angle, though. They're going to have to push at some point. We got the Jackal underneath, though. Velociraptor will find Terra. That will be the bandit removed. But Assault Queen face-to-face with the shotgun is not where you want to be. Will find Zerkit and end the life of that person. Monster Girl will go for the plant. A heal up from the dock. That means all 3 stems being used to help her team. Now that's teamwork. Some kills will go down, stopping the plant and getting one outside. Velociraptor will wrong direction and get finished off Bailey in a very clean defense round from Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, 8K do not know how to tackle the initial push through the armory wall that is currently being anchored down by Assault Queen. This is the 2nd or 3rd time where they've really struggled, and they had really good success when Marmalade was up on top of vents by Archives, but that was really the only look they had. And obviously, you can't put Marmalade in that position when she's dead to the bandit, you know, 1.5 minutes into the round. So Terra is able to basically cut out the only person that you're that worried about, which is going to be Marmalade. And then the rest of 8K crumbled when they tried to get in through the opening that was created by the thermite, and Assault Queen just sitting there. She's immovable. She's immovable. She's the Nesk of her team, so to speak. She plays the anchors on defense, and then she plays the fraggers on attack. And she's a good hand right now. On Ash, this can be pretty frightening. You've, for the time being, knocked 8K on their heels. And Border is not a map where a 4-2 is that strange. I mean, I feel like I say this with every single map, but Border is a map where it's very reliant on what sites you go to, the way that you play in the operators that are banned. Right now, I don't necessarily see either the attackers or defenders having an outright advantage. It's just been that, for the time being, Slaughterhouse has played better. That's what it boils down to. And another big part of it is that Slaughterhouse banned the Thatcher. Let's not forget that. So they knew how to play around it. And by doing so, they forced 8K to initiate in ways that put them at harm's way. And Slaughterhouse, whether it was Assault Queen or the Dock, or even having a yokai on the board, were there to catch them every single time. That's a smart ban from Slaughterhouse that obviously paid major dividends on their defense.
Let's just hope that they have the ability to attack without the Thatcher, as well as they were able to defend or counter 8K, which they had intel on 8K on Border, so it could have been a targeted ban. But again, if Thatcher was a big part of your attack, and it's a part of a lot of people's attack on Border, getting the pillbox wall open, getting the office wall open, dealing with any of the numerous preventative measures that the defense could deploy to stop you from breaching those hard walls and doing other things as well. Can they perform on attack without him as well? Well, that remains to be seen. We'll see the Twitch, like he mentioned, like Mr. Intera mentioned. They'll also bring the Monte. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what they have planned for that operator.
Monty is just such an unfortunate operator to have to go up against. And, you know, I don't want to say it too much because he's very annoying to play against, especially if he's played well. And if Slaughterhouse are good here, then the only real counters that you're going to see for a Monty are actually mostly on the board. If I'm being honest with you, you've got a Legion, you've got a Smoke, and you've got a Yokai. The defenders have tons in their at their disposal to be able to punish a bad Monty play from Terra. And if Monty doesn't get the support and they just kind of stick him on in as a mobile, you know, impenetrable drone, then that's going to be a huge problem. Already, though, Marmalade goes unseen, takes out Sky, down goes your Zofia, so some very valuable tools that are going to be outside of your toolkit. And Assault Queen is next here with a Legion of Wassa Raptor, not too far off. Sees the body, but pulls trigger a little bit too fast, but still down goes Assault Queen. And in the doorway, Terra getting the plant down. A smoke goes off. Zerkit comes in. Down goes the track stingers. Terra taking some damage, but not enough. Zerkit is trapped for the time being. He could possibly be pinched. That's exactly what's going to try to happen, but he guns his way out, or she guns her way out, rather. Marmalade is there too. C4 goes in. The Monty's going to push on up, and Zerkit takes him down. Oh no, the Monty falls. She's gone, and 8K will be able to win this one. Mini Ren somehow killing Velociraptor. Don't know why. But the gals from 8K disable the diffuser off of a very interesting and split push that came out from 8K. Maybe not the best advised. The Monty almost pulled it off.
How does Zerkit win that from that corner pinned? Shield to one side, ACOG to the other side, diffuser down, time to move. Somehow comes out the victor of both of those gunfights? Get out of here. That was a sick play. That is the type of play 8K needed. They needed somebody to step up and make a play. We saw Assault Queen with the smoke earlier make a play for Slaughterhouse, and that kind of boosted the team's morale enough for them to be able to turn that into a volley of wins, or at least a couple of consecutive wins to win the half out in their favor. And that's the type of play that 8K needed to bring it back. So now it's only a one-round game differential. And ladies and gentlemen, have we been seeing some games tonight, or what? This has been some absolutely top-notch matchups here tonight.
I mean, this is what I touched upon it last week, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but as this season goes on, you're going to see these games tighten up. You know, obviously the off-stream match is a big difference, but all of these teams are going to be getting better. They're going to learn each other's play styles. There's been a great investment from a lot of these teams and coaches, you know, many of whom have been cheering their teams on from the sidelines in the Twitch chat so far tonight, and you can tell that the involvement and success of these teams is very important to them. And what was started, you know, for various reasons, as not necessarily a league that you expected to contend outright with the old CCS league, has been getting pretty darn close. And I think that really shows just how quickly all of these players have been able to get up to speed, many of whom just don't have competitive experience. And that's the most impressive part for me, is that almost everybody that's playing in this league have never played in a serious competitive league before.
Right.
And now they've been given an opportunity to do so. And the way that they've played so far has been surprising, I think, to a lot of people. And I got to say, the skill level has jumped dramatically over 4 weeks. And that's exactly what we're seeing here.
It has. And I'll tell you what, I've talked to a lot of them behind the scenes, and they're having fun. So not only are they getting better, not only are they forming teams and getting competitive experience, but they're having fun, and that kind of drives them to continue to do it. And that's just awesome to, like, give somebody that experience, or not even give them the experience, but to allow them to experience that for themselves. And I think everybody's having a good time. So anyway, let's get back into this round 8. 8K trying to tie it back up. And if they did, would be to the surprise of no one. Some bullets going back and forth, and a nade as well up top. Looks like the Valk will take a lot of damage somewhere, but still manage to keep herself alive. Sky working this window from the upside down repel. Zerkit, the queen of last round, managing to win 2 gunfights in a crossfire, will contest said window. Drive Zofia to maybe not necessarily peak just so soon. Meanwhile, we got somebody crouch rocking around the corner. Looks like several of the attackers doing so upstairs. Velociraptor ready to, and oh no, will come in with the back turn. Velociraptor, easy kill there for her, and a very impressive kill anytime you're able to get one with such little health remaining.
Saw Queen's putting herself in a really tricky position here because she's taking away most of the security that she has, giving Monster Girl a perfect opportunity to throw out one of those toxic canisters. But for the time being, the Smoke realizes that the clock is not really on her side, and given the health of Velociraptor as well as Marmalade, play it safe, don't give up too much. Your first Smoke is going to want to go out around 30-35 seconds, maybe 40 seconds. Now is the time where you want to see it go, but you need to know exactly where the push is coming from. You can hear the sounds. First one's going to go off. Marmalade takes out Assault Queen, dives on Pyrrha. Diffuser from Terra going down, very limited HP, but is very safely nestled in, gets blasted by the yokai. Niniren knows exactly where she is, gun through the wall, and oh, poor Sky, by herself, gives her position away, and call in the Hounds. As you see Marmalade swing on in a flawless round from 8K, and they will stretch their lead as Slaughterhouse look primed and ready to make a comeback.
A 3K for Marmalade on the round, and she has just been absolutely consistent all night long. Look at that. Even Monster Girl agrees with me. She can hear me. That Marmalade's been nuts. And I'll tell you what, Zerkit's been playing very well also. Not to discount what any of the other girls on 8K have been doing. We've seen Velociraptor win out several crucial gunfights. You know, that time she got an easy pick, but it was an important one on one of the entry fraggers of Slaughterhouse. And on the other side of the board, we just haven't seen as many people making plays and as consistently making plays. Of course, we all saw the Assault Queen 1v3. Everybody saw that. And it was a great, really great job by her. But they're going to need to keep it up if they want to take the W away. Otherwise, they're going to have to figure out what 8K's been doing right, because they've chained 2 together in a row now after the half finishing 4-2. And now they're right back. Not only they're right back into it, but it's anybody's game at this point. As a matter of fact, I would give 8K the nod just because of the rally that they've been on since the half.
Yeah, they've made a surge in here, and it's working out quite effectively for them. Tied up, rather not stretch their lead. Sorry, I got the teams flipped in my brain. I had Slaughterhouse actually at the team that was at 3 on the left. I apologize, but anyway, it's all tied up, and yeah, 8K is starting to come back. I always thought that 8K was a more proficient team on attack. They certainly were last week, but they've proven themselves to be good on defense so far. Now the issue is that they're going to have to deal with the site rotation, as everybody does, and that's usually where the good teams will fall apart. You'll prove your mettle there, right? As to where you're gonna go in regards to what site is next. It's gonna be a customs defense right now. So same thing as before when Slaughterhouse was on defense. You need to control monitors up top. If you don't control monitors in CCTV, which is where Monster Girl is playing in right now, she's in break room, then you're going to be in trouble. A Kaid is being brought out. Keep in mind that there's no Thatcher available. He is banned. One single hard breacher there in the hands of Terra, as there was no hard breach brought in the previous round, knowing that it was going to be a ventilation and workshop defense. Pyrrha finds a very first kill. It's on to Marmalade, who is in quotes good player, and she's gone. So Pyrrha's up next. Monster Girl's going to try to find her way out. She's going to make an awful lot of noise in the process. This is where you need to be able to jump on them, and exactly what happens is Assault Queen is there, not too far off from the Twitch either. Slaughterhouse is just absolutely swarming 8K right now. No miss from Assault Queen. This shield strategy from Niniren is very innovative. We've seen it before. Bailey will force Niniren off of her spot. This is a breaching charge, will blow open the castle barricade. The Echo needs to get back to site. You still got utility to use. You still got 90 seconds left, but this looks grim for 8K for the time being. They are at a significant numbers disadvantage. Currently a 4v2 favoring Slaughterhouse with lots of time to go for the attackers.
Yeah, plenty of time to go, and man, I tell you what, Niniren just barely escaping the IQ. But she will escape nonetheless, back down. And this is still quite a winnable scenario, even though it is a 2v4. But Terra will go in and commit to the plant. There usually is a yokai placed and ready to go in that position, which is kind of the default. But it will not get stopped. It will go down, and now it is almost unsurmountable what they are facing, what the defense is facing now. 4 to find the diffuser down. Some shots will go through, and oh no! Terrible peek into the bullets flying. The wisps being protected by the suppressor of the MP5 SSD. So not necessarily so obvious that the bullets are flying there. But Wasawapter up through the hatch will get a beautiful shot, but Sky will shut down Ninirin. Looks like Wasawapter now pushing towards the diffuser. She is very bottlenecked. She'll hop out, see if she can find somebody. She'll peek the wrong way. Sky with the multi-kill will clean it up. And Slaughterhouse, very well played from them to stop. Like I said, 8K winning 2 in a row before this will stop that trend and bring the lead back into their hands.
Pyra gets a very opening kill and then still lives to see the very conclusion of the round, as you always have an F2 on the board. That's pretty strong, to say the least, especially with Pyra having taken somewhat of a beating. The problem with defending that site is that once you lose control of it, trying to regain it is extraordinarily difficult. Let's put it that way. Especially when you lose, you know, that stockroom plant in the default spot right by the window. You're so exposed. You try to defuse, your position's given away. You try to hop out that window, there's a claymore there, there's a nomad there. There might be track stingers there from Gridlock. There's somebody watching and you're gonna make a ton of noise. You're not gonna be able to hit the ground before somebody can pop up and take you down.
Attackers need to
It's a bad spot to be in when you're a defender trying to go in that position. And you know, I can't say at all that I envied 8K trying to make that one work. Velociraptor with a great shot is able to narrow it down, but can't really do all that much. And a big part of it was that Slaughterhouse were able to take control of that second floor really quickly. Once they took control of that second floor, they got the very 2 opening picks. The first one was Pyra, the second one was Assault pick, or Assault Queen. They got those 2 picks, and you know, those were the 2 players who got the picks, for those that aren't following my logic. And then, you know, it's a 3v5. The Echo tries to battle back, but then Niniren needs to escape, and at that point, you've got the Echo on the run. You've basically taken them out of the equation, at least for a very short period of time. You've lost complete control, and then Customs falls very soon after. That's just the way this site tends to work. Unless you've got an incredible play from somebody playing off site, maybe over by bathroom, or maybe somebody in workshop, and the attackers just don't do their diligence, there's very minimal opportunities for the attackers to be able to lose that, and that's exactly what happened. The attackers won, and they still had 2 people upright.
That they did. It was a well-played effort by the remaining defenders there, but just too much to handle once the diffuser goes down in such a tight spot like that. Either way, here we go. Round number 10. Marmalade with 15 kills in the first 9 rounds. We saw Maddox earlier today, 18 after 9 rounds, averaging 2 a round. Ended up the entire match with 21, but that's besides the point. Monster Girl will open it up onto Assault Queen, somebody we've seen come in the clutch multiple times tonight for Slaughterhouse. She'll get taken off the board, and thus will the IQ and her gadget finding abilities. As the defense now can kind of kick back and relax a little bit. Numbers advantage, and only a minute off the board. Very early to pick somebody off.
These deployable shields bring so much strength here, especially when a Mira is banned. You can just sit behind them and wait and play off of 1 or 2 of those small little slats. We saw Slaughterhouse do this on defense, and now we're seeing AK do the exact same thing. Marmalade is just continuously adding to her tally, desperately trying to catch up to what we saw in our very first game of the day. Niniren takes out Pyra. Goodbye. So 8K are having quite the bounce back here. That's going to leave the 2 remaining members of Slaughterhouse inside of monitors, and they'll have to go through a singular doorway. Tara's still got an exothermic charge at her disposal, but where are you going to utilize it? Well, a good place is on the wall that is likely reinforced right near the break room, but they'll juggle the diffuser and probably could just try to go for an execute here. The problem is that there's going to be 2 members of the defense very keenly watching this entrance, one of whom happens to be Zerkit, who sees just a tiny bit of their body. Of Bailey taking Zerkit down around the deployable shield. This might be a safe way for Slaughterhouse to go in, but there goes your very first smoke. Answered back by a smoke from Bailey. Track stingers go out. Tara tries to trudge on through, can't do it. She chokes to death. Down she goes. That's unfortunate timing for her, and 8K firmly in the driver's seat. Gridlock planting against the wall. Is there information? Yes, there is. The yokai will stun Bailey, and it looks like it's going to be a team effort. Explosions and bullets raining all around her. It's going to be yokai yet again. But Monster Girl doing her best Assault Queen impression inside the small office will give 8K the round. And it does definitely seem like all of these matches tonight are going to be going the distance with the way they've been playing.
It's really a sight to behold, to be honest. And we've said it. We've talked about all the reasonings, and as time goes on, they get better, and now there's more intel and yada yada. But the bottom line is you're absolutely right. We've just been having fantastic matches tonight. Marmalade, 16 kills, 10 rounds deep, and we did see one match. I think it was the first match of the night where we saw a lot of flawless and a lot of there's 4 people left over at the end of the round. And then we saw the last matchup where it was a little bit closer. And I think this one's been the closest so far. We've seen 1v1s, we've seen 1vx's won by the one side. And I think this has been a little bit more down to the wire type of back and forth game. All of the games tonight, though, very exciting to watch. As a matter of fact, I've had games where where it gets one-sided and you get a little bit lethargic, kind of casting and watching, etc. Not tonight. Tonight has been hype central because the quality of the gameplay has been so good. We've seen people make excellent plays. We've seen people do very high IQ, quote unquote, things. And we've seen people take intel that they have and really utilize it. And that type of gameplay is really fun to watch. And so not only has it been close, but the gameplay has been really fun. Now, here we are, 5 apiece. Whoever wins this round, and there will be a winner to this round, of course, will be on match point. We've gotten to this point before tonight twice. But both of those matches ended 7-5. When somebody went on match point, they were able to close immediately the next round. Will this be any different this round? Well, if it's going like it's been going, and we actually had this conversation the last time before it was cursed, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but I am for the sake of fact, is nobody's won more than 2 in a row here, right? And so if Slaughterhouse was to win it outright here, they would need to chain 3 together. However, if Kara takes the head off of Zerkit and the Bandit right off the bat, that's going to make that a little bit more easier.
Zerkit being gone is a major issue. Grenade gets tossed in from Assault Queen. It goes off, but Velociraptor somehow survives it. Must have just danced away. Still followed up by Assault Queen, but 8K comes alive. Marmalade gets 1. Monster Girl gets yet another. Trying to match Maddox's total from earlier today. It definitely seems like what Marmalade is trying to do, or Marmalade rather. There she goes on the Bailey, a double kill for her, trying to hit that 20 mark, getting ever so close. Very winnable for 8K. We thought that they had the advantage, sure, but still, they might get it after this round. But a 3v2 is by no means a certainty here, especially for 8K with the way that Slaughterhouse has been playing.
Marmalade's just been able to get away with just disgusting plays. There's when you look at the scoreboard and see her at the top, there's no how did she get there? I've had games before where oh, I didn't realize that this person had the most kills because maybe their names weren't rolling off my tongue as much as I had thought. But Marmalade's been rolling off my tongue all game long, and she continues to do so. Able to help her team bring the numbers back to even. As a matter of fact, it'll actually take them a member up. So 2 attackers remaining, still a minute left to work with, and they will bide their time as the 2 remaining attackers are actually split pretty far apart at the moment. Looks like they had to go and get the diffuser, and that's exactly what they'll do. The defense just kind of staying motionless. They don't want to move around, trying to get some sound cues as the default cams, etc. are gone. We'll see the yokai get looked at, see if any information comes out from that. Monster Girl, not sure. Maybe she couldn't pluck that toxic babe from the ceiling. It looks like it got stuck in the bars. She decided to detonate it. So the next one can be thrown in preparation. Only 20 seconds now, and that smoke will get thrown indeed under the window of default. And as that smoke dissipates, Marmalade from the window with a triple kill on the round will find Pyra. And now only Sky remains up top, miles from sight, miles from the diffuser, and only 4 seconds left to work. She'll drop, see if she can pad her stats. She finds 1. Can she find any more? No, time will run out. And 8K will move to match point.
Diffuser down miles away from Sky, as you said, and there's not really much she can do with that. You just got to go for frags and frag hunting, and there was limited opportunity to do that. I am kind of amazed that she keeps running the LMG-E, which is not a gun that a lot of people bring. It's got some greater caliber-based destruction than Zophia's main assault rifle, but, I mean, that's personal preference. 8K now needs to go to a site to try and stave off overtime that is not really suitable, for defending. And last time around, who was it? Velociraptor, who tried to keep the site intact, couldn't do it, and oh boy, it ended up being, a 1v3 that became a 1v2. But I mean, who's kidding ourselves? It was still basically a locked away victory for Slaughterhouse. And it was because Slaughterhouse had two very early picks in the start of the round. It was Terra and Pyra, or Terra and Assault Queen rather, if I remember correctly, who got the very two first kills in that round, essentially knocking 8K square on, ass over tea kettle, as some would say. I think that's an old saying, so you might understand that since we are both old. But 8K couldn't recover from that. Nini Ren tried her best, and the rest of it just, all fell apart. I've got to imagine that you're going to play a bit more conservatively. Your presence that's going to be upstairs in monitors from 8K is probably going to be better supported than it was last time. You have to hold monitors up top. You have to. If you do not, this round is over for 8K, and we go to overtime.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see us go into overtime, by the way. However, this last win here, this last round win, I should say, by 8K was vicious, to say the least. They got the better of Slaughterhouse in more than one way. The kills that came out from 8K were not face-to-face, but they were able to get side and back angles, and that can be a little bit demoralizing when the game is literally on the line based on what happens in this round. Will that let him affect it? It hasn't yet tonight. Again, nobody's won more than 2 in a row. 8K turned it right around after Slaughterhouse won 2. And so that trend will not continue unless perhaps, and the only chance is if we go into overtime, which is still very much a viable solution. But a minute down, Monster Girl is going to hang out in break room again. We saw her get caught in break room before, not able to escape, was heftily dispatched of. But of course, she's got Marmalade with her on the crossfire, who's been unbelievable all night long. And that free fire through the door there is just going to barely miss somebody's head. Marmalade will rotate back out into the hallway to make sure that nobody is there peeking. Send some more bullets through the door. And the attackers now traipsing through offices, trying to see if they can find a pin.
Slaughterhouse needs to get a very quick handle on monitors here if they want to be able to turn this round, because the clock is their enemy, at least for the moment. Marmalade taking out Assault Queen, and 2 for her. Huge! She just is on a rampage so far, looking for a third, dealing quite a bit of damage to Sky, but cannot get the rest of it by a hair. That LMGE coming in a pinch. But still, Marmalade takes out 2, and you don't know if you have full control up top. Monster Girl is there. There's pings coming out. It could be the Yokai drone that's in play. Who knows exactly what it is? But Nini Ren is going to continue to give this information. Slaughterhouse opens up the detention wall. A minute left for them to go. Monster Girl just does not need to peek. She gives her position away, and Sky will fire on in vain. None of them hitting Monster Girl at all. The smoke will stay alive, at least for the time being. She's got an opening that she can't really patrol the same way, and Pyra knows that, so she has to escape with her life intact. It's a smart call, but Slaughterhouse don't have a lot of time here to pull off this execute.
No, they sure don't. Velociraptor primed and ready at the hatch, where they know that the attacking squad is poking at the moment. But it looks like the attacking squad is regrouping elsewhere, as there is still a battle for CC still going down. Velociraptor still just holding this angle. The pings are coming out. They know where at least one of them are, and the other one over by front door now looks like to be pushing in. Sky just still holding this angle. They've got to make a move, and they've got to do it right now, but she's not. Hello, Sky, you got to do something. Help your teammate. The diffuser is going down. Unprotected circuit with the 2-piece. Monster Girl will finish it up. And 8K had a couple of struggles there in the late game, but will chain 2 crucial rounds right together and close up with, ladies and gentlemen, we've had 3 matches, all 3 7-5.
I mean, it's great. It's great to see this level of competition. It's terrible for our sleep patterns if we are looking for an early night